How's it going, people? It is Liam Caddison here. We're taking another adventure into Wonderland as we get into episode number 5 for this season. Oi, last episode. Pretty intense. Will got turned into a weeping angel, essentially. I don't expect that to last long. Maybe it'll end by the end of this episode, maybe next episode, but we shall wait and see. But yeah, Jafar sending warning shots, especially since Alice used her first wish. If you kill Will, you kill me too. And that really would put the kibosh on his plans to have all the wishes be used so he could have his hands on Cyrus. So yeah, he essentially sent a warning shot to Alice, and it will be very interesting to see where things go, because of course we were cracking into the vulnerabilities of Anastasia, who obviously we know that connection with Will and Anastasia, that former connection should I say, since Will doesn't really want anything to do with her nowadays. But she did show some of the vulnerabilities. Jafar doesn't really care, he's got nothing to lose in regards to Will, whereas I feel like there is still that pull to Will that Anastasia has. So it will be very interesting coming into this episode. So with that said, let's get into episode number 5 of Season 1 for Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. Let's go.
What are you doing, Mother?
Oh no.
Damn right I did. You're going to run off with this loser. Is that what's happening here?
Very rude.
I bet. So that you could move up, only to have you toss it all away.
Oh, I'm getting Cora flashbacks here, folks.
I thought you could at least land a nobleman. Not him, Will Scarlet, the thief.
I'm no thief. Not anymore.
What kind of a life is he going to give you? Doesn't need to give me anything.
Sadly, things spiraled downwards for Anastasia and Will. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a happy landing. If you fall, Anna.
There you go. Case of rain or snow or anything that might fall from the sky.
Meteors, will it protect him against that?
When that end comes, I need to ensure I have the power to protect myself.
I mean, I said it. It's Jafar and Anastasia didn't have a chance on having this,
He was your friend
like,
too, once.
workship until the end of
More
the
than a
season.
friend, from what I gather. Or was he just a means to an end as well?
Ah.
When has that ever stopped us? We could both do with a little change of scenery. And more importantly, some of that bread.
Always about that curiosity, though. Like, just
You know that dress will
slide
never
your way
do.
in.
We'll have to borrow you a new one.
Borrow.
Things that all the wealth and power cannot get you.
Like
Like what?
love.
We all come to Wonderland looking for something more, darling. I seem to remember a little girl in a blue dress wanting her father's love. You and I are not.
Oh, you're not playing that card, Anna.
It's just a matter of what we're willing to do to get it.
After a lifetime in a bottle, I know this. No one deserves to be another man's prisoner. And if I'm to be free, then so are you.
It's just when you reflect on the last episode, and we're free! I think Jafar felt he was the prisoner of the Sultan, and now the tables have turned, so...
I'm offering to help you with your debt to the Queen. All that I require in exchange is that you...
Don't sell out, Rabbit!
What?
Oh, no.
Alice. You've known her since she was a girl. I need to know everything about her, particularly everyone
No,
she's
your
ever-
enemy. Oh, no. Oh, where did he go?
You looking for me?
Oh, he went the... Okay, cool. Knock him off! Knock him off, Cyrus! There we go!
Either you haven't been looking hard enough, or maybe I'm no lady.
Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, is she gonna be keeping up appearances as if she does? Oh no.
She stole it from my carriage.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we did the pinching. This will last us a week at least.
There are guards there, Will.
Stuff shirt.
You could have set this in a more discreet location.
Right.
Come on, let's go out. Bread's still warm.
Oh, she's getting
How do I know
pulled.
this isn't- No one could leap over that, no matter how pure their heart was. Unless that's the point.
Henry's just laughing right now, somewhere far, far away.
There's no way you can do it. It's a riddle. Maybe it's a
But of course, he
figurative-
had assistance with pixie dust, so. Can I just say, oh! She's doing a Gwen Stacy. Oh goodness. Oh. That didn't happen to Gwen.
We are gonna steal the crown jewels. I saw them. They were at the palace in a case off the main hall.
This is bold. Oh no.
Weren't you the one that said a chance of living the life we imagined?
I thought I was your best chance for that.
It's gonna work. Has to work.
She's just living in hope, really, that things can work out for the best for these two. Even though Will doesn't want to resign himself to being a
Get one shot
thief.
at this.
When Jafar learns you witnessed my escape without alerting the guards, he will kill you.
No,
He won't.
he won't. How do you know?
He's still got it. Yeah, come on, reveal it, reveal it. Ah,
I know.
and I know you're the Sultan because I've got it in my gut, and there's so many.
You're as familiar with the guard's schedule as I am. If you don't leave now, you have no chance.
Yeah, he's giving him a chance to.
Farewell then.
Lucky rabbit's foot.
Oh my
Certainly
God!
wasn't the rabbit, was it? Now, it so happens that for about the next minute, I can reverse your predicament.
Shit! Oh, he's gonna have to.
Please, anything. Who else in Wonderland does she care about?
Jafar's a real bastard.
Show yourself!
Is this? I'm gonna say, is this a Dagobah situation? Yeah, I was gonna say, is this a younger? Oh!
It's lovely to see you again.
Well, we're getting Dagobah vibes here. Okay, Elle, calm down.
How can you get what you want? Which is what? The chance to kill the Red Queen.
She's not going to, though, is she? Because this is going to be testing her heart, isn't it?
And we've been good. And where's that gotten us?
Strike her down.
She's a queen.
All your hatred.
And we're suffering.
Not gonna do it.
Yes. Please. Do it!
Do it.
You did it.
But she lives.
Indeed.
But she
That was a
didn't give it.
test.
Yeah, she didn't give in to the darkness.
Truly are pure of heart.
Like the passage.
Take care, Alice. I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
Evil,
Can't hold on to
evil,
those lips
venomous piece of
All I hope is
shit.
seeing Cyrus again.
Ah, of course she kept a bit of it.
You work for me now, rabbit. Or do I really need to remind you?
Oh, good, good. When his back was turned. That was quite speedy, though. Move!
Rabbit!
I know it's futile to
Oh, he
resist
gave
you.
Cyrus that.
I'll do what you ask.
gave
You
him
made
that
the right
opportunity.
choice. Even if you did find your way out of the tower.
And that love you cling to, it won't be long before you realize it's not enough.
Power has more of a longevity.
And then, my dear, it will be too late for you.
Fuck. Oh, poor Will. Poor Will. That really does hurt. Oh. Of course she was going to take some to free will. Because she still longs for him in a sense. If you just yell, she might be able to hear you. Ooh. Well, things are looking up for these two, so yeah. It's gonna be a bit of a trek for them two to obviously reconnect, but yeah, I did like learning more about Anastasia and how she really seeped into that power. Power speaks a lot more than the life she was living. That love, there's that kind of hopelessness, especially with her hoping for a luxurious life with Will, but it's like she is being led to believe that she's just going to be led back to square one, really. And that the status of queen is going to provide a more longevity of what she desires. So she's forced to choose between her life of old and this new life. And obviously she still has that lust for Will, that heart for Will. But, I mean, you can't really blame Will for feeling betrayed because, as we saw in the flashbacks, he was that, pretty much, so... But very interesting scenario, very interesting with Alice confronting a version of herself, which was all, of course, a test to see if she would be tempted to, I guess, the dark side. Not necessarily evil, but obviously she had to prove that she wouldn't do something, I guess, heinous, and voila. So I think this was a really great episode to explore Anastasia a bit further, which is really great, because obviously we know what she's like in present day terms, and even though she's shown a bit of vulnerability, it's always nice to explore how different she was before the king, I guess, bribed her into becoming queen. So yeah, and I just gotta say, it was just very interesting seeing how... I mean, we got a sneak peek of her in, I think it was episode 3 in the flashbacks, but we got to see her fully fleshed out in the flashbacks to this episode, how she thought she had a comfortable life with Will, but power and riches, they were... very fundamental for her to have that security, to have the life that she could feel comfortable with, and I guess prove her mother wrong, really. So because obviously she tried to deter her from being with Will, and yeah, she would do anything in her ability to still be with Will and provide herself a happy life. So, and ultimately, she chose power, and she chose the ability to become queen over Will. The fact that she would just bounce back to square one, I guess. And it's really sad for Will, because obviously that you saw throughout this episode that these two pretty much had a very good vibe, but it wasn't until Anna got caught and the king made that ultimatum, and she chose to be happy, and that happiness was with power. So yeah, but I guess we saw towards the end of the episode that there is still that little bit of hope, I guess, within within Anastasia, because she did keep some of the dust for herself to free will. She's probably got some more as well, but she wanted there was what's the word I'm looking for? There was a hidden motive to why she wanted the dust as well. So, yeah, but not just that though. But she decided to bolt. She could have taken the reign. She could have taken the glory, really, in terms of, oh, I freed you. But I think that ultimately screams that she still has. I mean, the last episode showcased examples of it, anyways. But I think this just furthers that pull that she does have for Will. Just that she chose power and all that jazz, and that ultimately reigned over love. Will obviously has that betrayal in mind because that's what he went through. So, now she does have that power. I think there is that hope, because I think we haven't seen the king, so one can assume he's not alive anymore. So I think she is still trying to get Will back intertwined into her life, should I say? But Will's not having any of it with the selfishness that she chose, and how power and money that excelled over love. So yeah, but like I said, it is really, really sad, because Will, he might not have been able to provide the life that Anastasia ultimately dreamed of, but that love was real. And that wasn't really enough for Anastasia at the end of the day, because she wanted that security. She wanted to prove to her mother she was going to be good enough in terms of finances and all that, and still be with Will. But it wasn't going to work out once the king caught her. So, because initially she did reject him, but he just kept goading at her, saying, you're going to go back to square one. This is your chance to have everything you want, because if you go back to Will, it's not going to happen. So, yeah. It's a situation that you do feel so bad for Will for. And it's interesting peeling into those layers with Anastasia. We find I guess motivation for her, and the layers in her character. So yeah, but I think you could really, really tell that there was a sacrifice for Anastasia, that she does want that love, but it's like you can choose one or the other. You can't have both, and she's stuck in that position. And I think ultimately she would choose love, but she wants to be better off. And there is created. I think you can really see it, like the enthusiasm she has when she's with Will in the flashbacks. And in the present day, there is a bit more of a stiffer atmosphere. There is a bit more of I think you could tell there is a bit more of a hurt going on for her. And I think that speaks volumes about how she does want that love. And now, and she had to sacrifice that in order to feel that power, to feel that wealth. So yeah. But it's just very, very interesting, because you see Alice, who is willing to go through anything in order for her to be with Cyrus, and you have Anastasia, who is not willing to sacrifice all that power and wealth. She wants to feel that security. She wants to feel that power, and ultimately she's choosing to sacrifice love, and she's not willing to go through the hardships, unlike Alice. So there's a really, really interesting parallel there with Alice and Anastasia, because of the differences that they go through. Alice will be willing, like you saw in the last episode, she was going to suffer because she wasn't going to give all the wishes to bloody Jafar. So she was willing to suffer in order to have Cyrus safe, in order for her to be with Cyrus. Whereas Anastasia, she chose to throw away her love in order for a better future for herself. And ultimately, you could see, like I said, you could see that she's still longing for that love, but at the end of the day, she threw that away. And I mean, we could see it in the interactions with her and Will in the last episode. There is that longing, but Will's not having any of it. He feels betrayed, rightfully so. You can't really blame him. And yeah, so, but it was really, really great to explore going into how Anastasia went from being Anastasia to the Red Queen, I guess. I really loved the transition in her accent as well, because she did have a very, very different accent before she became intertwined with the king at the ball. I think you could really see how the Red Queen came about with the change in her accent, because it is vastly different. There's a bit more sophistication when she confronts the king at the ball. Her accent is, of course, similar to Will's in the flashback, but there's a deviation once she meets the king. I think that's very, very interesting, and that really, in my mind, perfectly sets up the seeds for her transition to the Red Queen. So yeah, it was really interesting learning more about the Red Queen's past, as well as Alice's journey and her having to reluctantly make this pact with the Queen. It was great that she wasn't naive and decided she knew that the Queen was going to betray her in some capacity, and decided to keep the dust for herself. But I really liked that test that she was faced with, where she confronted, I wouldn't say a darker version of herself, because it was all an act, of course, in order to prove that Alice was pure of heart. But there was that test to see if she would be tempted to go into the darkness and strike down the Queen. So yeah, and ultimately she proved that she was pure of heart. So I really, really like the challenges there, as well as more utilization of the younger Alice, because whereas we still got a bunch of episodes to go, I think we're coming up to the halfway mark, so we might get to see young Alice in terms of the flashbacks. It's great to utilize the younger Alice, to utilize Millie Bobby Brown, or Millie Brown, as of course she's credited in this. So yeah, but yeah, it's great to utilize more of the younger Alice and have her be that kind of temptation in a sense. Well, I say temptation, it's to see, is Alice going to be pure of heart? Well, she is, so voila. But yeah, that was really, really great. We got more of Rabbit, and yes, again, he is stuck between a rock and a hard place, as, of course, Jafar is going to be more ruthless than Anastasia, as we've, I guess, kind of elucidated anyways. And ruthless he was, because he chopped off his foot in order for information, in order to find out Alice's kryptonite, I guess. And I think, in terms of other people that Alice does love, I think the only other person that's really been established is her father. So, and with the Rabbit's comments, that's kind of backed up. Well, they're not on Wonderland, so one could assume that Jafar's going to make a quick hop to London and try to get at. Well, it's gonna also be very interesting as well, because this is going to prove. This is for Alice's father going to prove that Alice wasn't, I guess, crazy, because obviously that was a big part in setting the seeds in episode 1. So yeah, but it's still not going to bode well in terms of getting at Alice. So yeah. Yeah, Rabbit's at least he made that sacrificial move in having Cyrus, who performed the Great Escape. I thought it wasn't going to end well for him. It still might not, but I thought he would have got on caught as soon as he was reaching the exit, and then he would have been thrown back in prison. Voila, with the Sultan, which I'm 99.999% sure that the other prisoner is the Sultan. I mean, I did have a I guess a kind of epiphany moment, like, oh, I think he's the Sultan in the last episode, but I think this episode further cements it, if anything, in my opinion. But yeah, we have Cyrus who's escaped, and that was in aid of the rabbit as well, because he was going to bump into Jafar, and that would have ended well, wouldn't it? But the rabbit gave him a good escape and took that sacrifice, I guess. So I guess good on Rabbit. He's been having it rough, but yeah, not out of the woods yet, I guess, with Jafar needing his assistance. And of course, Jafar, not really the most pleasant person there is. So yeah, but really great episode, learning more about the Queen and how she, I guess, descended from love to power, and finding out what became of, how Anastasia and Will, I guess, broke things off, because that was always a very interesting, an interesting aspect to discover. Like, how did these two, who seemingly had, well, I wouldn't say the world at their hands, but they loved each other so much. How did these two have that falling out? Especially since it was teased in the early episodes and in Wonderland. And now we got to find out what happened. So, yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens next episode with both Cyrus and Alice just closer towards each other. But there's going to be some obstacles, inevitably. So, but yeah, pretty neat episode of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. So I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my media feeds and channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time. Toodles!